Greetings. This pen is the Sailor 1911 large model pen. This is a very traditional black resin cigar shaped pen. It's a fairly average weight pen, weighs about 25 grams. It's also a fairly average size pen. Here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. So you can see it's just a bit bigger than these very common pens. I will say this pen, like I said, is a very classic style pen. It might remind you of another popular manufacturer's pen. So during this exercise, I'm going to be comparing it to this pen, which is a Montblanc model 146, which is almost the exact same size as the Sailor. The Montblanc is a tiny bit longer, although the Sailor pen is a little bit girthier. I'm going to do, in the course of this review, a bit of comparisons, because I think it's a very worthwhile comparison to do because these pens are so similarly styled. The price difference is massive. This pen is a under $200 pen, and this pen is several multiples of that. So keep that in mind when we're talking about both of these pens. So let's get back to the Sailor for a moment. Like I said, black resin, very classic design. The cap band says Sailor, Japan, founded 1911. So Sailor pen company was founded in 1911. That's where the name of this pen, the 1911, gets its name from. Has a nice, very classically styled clip, which is very functional and works well. It has a sort of pseudo piston turning knob here. This is just for show, because unlike the Montblanc, this is a cartridge converter filled pen. If we open the pen up, it takes 1-2 full turns to open the pen. You can see what I consider to be one of the nicest nibs around. This is a solid 21 karat gold nib, which is probably the highest gold content you're going to see in a fountain pen nib. This particular one is labeled HM on the side of the nib for hard medium. We'll see in the writing sample what that means specifically. It has some very nice decorative scroll work. The words 1911, the numbers 1911, the Sailor anchor logo, and where it says 21K and 875, which is the gold content for 21 karat gold, and then the word Sailor in very small letters at the base of the nib. But it's a very, very nice looking nib. The pen obviously posts comfortably and sits very comfortable in the hand. It has a gold colored band here. The threads are very, very unobtrusive. Section is a tiny bit on the short side, and it has just the smallest little lip to hold your fingers at the end of the section. So for people who like that very large sort of grippy lip to keep their fingers away from the nib, this might not be the best, because this is just the very smallest little upturned lip over here. So bringing back our friend the Montblanc 146, we're going to look at that as well. So when posted, just to give you a size comparison here, like I said, the Montblanc was a little bit bigger. Unposted, it's a bit bigger. Posted as well. The Montblanc has a slightly larger nib. The Montblanc nib is a two-toned 14 karat nib. Equally pretty, I'd say. They're both very nice looking nibs. As you can see, the sections and the threads are virtually identical on these two pens. One big difference, and probably the only significant difference from a mechanism standpoint, is the fact that the Montblanc is an actual piston filling pen, and it's hard to see, but there actually is a ink level window here. This pen is actually full of ink, so it's a little hard to see, but there is these sort of slits here which give you ink level on the Montblanc. The Sailor, on the other hand, is a cartridge converter pen. So if ink capacity is a real issue for you, then perhaps the Montblanc would be a better choice if you wanted a pen styled like this. When we get to the writing sample, we could talk about both of them. I'll cut to the punchline though. I think this pen writes better than the Montblanc does for a fraction of the cost. So we'll get to that in a minute. But this is definitely a good option to consider if you want a pen that is this sort of size and style. The one thing you do not get on the Sailor pen, which might be worth some money to you, is this. You pay a lot for that Montblanc logo. That is no doubt at all. But as you can see, the Sailor pen does not have one of those. So that is about it for the parts of the pen. Let's take a look at how it writes. Okay, what we are writing with here today is a Sailor 1911 large, and this is what they call an HM nib, and this is 21 karat gold. HM stands for hard medium, meaning you would think with with this higher gold content that the nib would be very soft and flexible, but this particular one is not, because it's a hard nib, so you really don't get very much flex here, because this nib is not specifically not meant to do that. So this is, again, what they call a hard medium nib. They do make softer versions of it, but this is not one of them. However, in terms of overall feel of the nib, this is actually one of my favorite pens there is. It has just the right amount of feedback, has a fantastic smooth feel. I just absolutely love the way this writes. It's just a fantastic writing pen. I'm going to do a little writing with the Montblanc now, just to show you. Now, if you remember, this was what Sailor called a medium nib. Now you're going to see with the Montblanc, which is also a medium nib, you're going to see a difference here. So this is the Montblanc 146, and this is a medium nib. So this is a bit broader and wetter. This pen writes well as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a fantastic writing pen. It's smooth, and you know, it writes well and writes what you'd expect a pen in this price range to write like. It's just I'm not sure, given these two pens here that are really as close in looks and styling as you can imagine, and overall quality, that the price is justified. So if you're in the market for a pen like this, I would really steer almost anybody towards the Sailor. Although, like I said, the Montblanc writes fantastically. You know, you can't go too wrong with that. So that's the pen. Let's take a look at the ink we have. Oh, by the way, this ink in the Montblanc, in case you're wondering, is Montblanc Irish Green. We'll do a more thorough discussion of that at a future date, but in case you were wondering. This ink, however, is Sailor Jentle Epinard. And épinard, in case you didn't know, is the French word for spinach, which is exactly what this color is. So this is pretty much the color of spinach. So it's a very nice, sort of organic looking green. These are obviously both shades of green, interestingly enough, but they're obviously very, very different. I really like this particular ink quite a bit. It's a subtle green. It looks really good on the page. It's a very flat ink. There, not too much in the way of shading. There's no shimmer. There's nothing fancy going on with this. But it is just a really nice color, and it's a little different in terms of different shades of green go. You don't see this sort of family of green ink very often. But it is that spinach color, and it's a well-named color because that's really what it is. Like all the Sailor Gentile inks, it comes in this sort of flat inkwell bottle. Normally I'm not a fan of these squat, sort of short, wide ink bottles. This one does have an insert in it, sort of has like a little mini filler inside, so you can tip the bottle over, and it fills sort of this funnel-shaped gizmo inside, so you can helps you fill the pen. But again, this is not a great shape bottle for ink. The J. Herbin ones to me suffer from the same problem. So again, not a huge fan of this shape bottle, but it is a really nice ink, nice color. I hesitate to call it a pretty color because that's not really what it is. It's just it's a nice color. It's somewhat professional. You could use it in an office and in most professional contexts. Without getting too much flack on that, because again, it's just, at the end of the day, it's a flat green ink that's a bit on the dark side, and not really very flashy at all. I think that might do it for this particular video. As always, I would encourage you to subscribe, and if you like this video, please let me know. If you didn't like the video, also let me know, and I will endeavor to improve. Until next time, bye-bye.